complexions, hair textures, heights. These daughters of Isis is the mothers of the earth, and they come in all skin tones. And we be fighting over the doctrines of men as if they some holy truth when they some holy bullshit. Even a lot of the pale-faced Jews took sides with us. We have a conjure woman in California. She's a Jewish lady. Been doing this for over 50 years, named Catherine Yorwood. But she was given and entrusted the secrets by elders in our community in order to give it back to us as our teacher. And then when we see her, we act like we can't read the doctrine she given us to know if she was sanctioned by a big mama on the land. Because we don't know how to look at that stuff no more. Because the 12-step detox from thinking that they call school and effed us up. All of the Irish ain't even yellow. Some of them by my complexion. The daughters of Scotia, they was with freckles. They was chocolate with freckles or caramel with freckles and red hair, auburn red hair. And the daughter of Scotta was buttermilk complexion with fiery red hair. They still do a red hair festival, daughters of Scotta, to this day in Ireland. So anybody want to come up and chop it up with the chief? I'm about to let y'all up. If y'all wanna chat. If you do, just send me a request and I'll let you up. Look here, is this it? Okay, I don't got no requests so far. Oh, there go one. A lot of us don't know, like that purple tint, that's the same way that the chlorophyll affect purple grapes is the same way that you have those people that be purple black. They don't really be black, they be shades of blue, which is the purple shade, which is an old bloodline. Mm-hmm. And we done been smashed these mofos. We gotta watch the rollout while they tearing it apart in our face and people having tizzy fits because they don't know what's going on. Davion, they ain't letting you up. It say adding on there, but you ain't came up yet. Um, okay. James Taylor, I'm gonna try you now. Look, I told y'all they have to start. She asked me about the planes. They have to cause chaos on their way out. The more chaos they cause, the closer we know to their final exposure. They creating, kicking, and screaming on the way out. They go try to create all of the panic they can, but we not panicking no more because we see all this BS coming. Sam, I don't know when we gonna see the three chiefs. I just know that we still in closing everything out because the work that Trump doing is showing us that we still had a ways to go. He done signed 50 executive orders already or more. Revolution will not be televised, but it's showing the fuck gonna play out on social media. Yeah, the division is the horrible thing. Look, even the Mexicans, right? You got different groups of Mexican that identify with different people. You got the ones that identify with the tribes. Then you got the ones who identify. Then you got the ones who identify with the Spaniard. Those the ones you got to be leery of. Them the ones that's gonna cut your throat, cross out artists, right? Then you have those that's they not ethnically taking sides, but they philosophically taking sides with some political agenda or jargon somewhere. I didn't watch the Super Bowl performance, but I seen a couple of good breakdowns on it. Yeah. Y'all gotta make sure y'all check if y'all trying to get up. Um,
Tell a friend. It's like the Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch. The
yeah.
Brady Bunch. So Mr. Rod Hayes, I want to introduce, everybody knows you already, but I always like to give you an introduction. And I always like to kind of get deep into like who you really are. You know what I mean? Because let me just get some gossip off the table. Rod, can I do that?
Yeah, come on. Let's get some
Can I release
gossip off the table.
can I release the Kraken?
Release the Kraken. Release the Kraken.
For those, there's some ladies, Rod, that like to write me about you, and they seem to think that me and you are doing a rodeo. You know what I mean? We're doing a tango, and they're mad at me because they say that you like women. I think they prefer you like men. So can you validate that you're a man that likes, that is
I'm
a
a whole
healthy?
man. I love women. And me and Flo Burn ain't never been in the same room at the same time in real life.
That's what I'm saying. Stop accusing. Just because we talking doesn't mean everything is about that life. You know what I mean? You can't even have a conversation nowadays, Rod. It's like God darn. I know
I
everybody's a
almost said
trans.
some I almost said some real grown gutter in the street stuff right then.
We
I
gonna
was
keep
close.
listen. We gonna keep it PG, but if we gotta go there, we gotta go there. So I just want to tell you, very wicked, very low vibrational females, stop it already. If you have a crush on Rod, write him. Stop writing me. Stop being a
No, don't
hater.
write me. Don't write me because I don't got time for it right now. Don't write me. I ain't got time for it right now. I'm trying to free our people. And
He told you all not to contact him. Leave me alone. I told you I'm a trans frog, and now Trump won't let me be that anymore. I told you, you know that, right? I'm a trans, uh, homosexual, gay, white, Jewish man. I just wanted to come out of the closet, but now Trump won't let me be that. He said there's only two genders. Even though he's orange, he's not letting me be who I truly think I am or believe I am with my mental illness. So I just want to put that on the table.
look, people, when they don't know where your sources of light from, they try to dim it and they use the most poorest quality of demeaning methods.
Mhm.
Like stuff that don't even make sense.
Sure.
They can recognize everybody except they celebrities, they famous cross-dressing celebrities that they think
Hello.
men and women. They can't recognize them.
No, no.
They get hard or mad you call one of them cross dressers a cross dresser.
Oh, they get mad, you know. Now the passports have to say their real sex. You know that, right? They're having conniptions right now that when they're going to get their passports, it actually designates the sex that they were born with. They're very upset, Rod.
Well, they shouldn't change what God gave them.
Ooh,
They wouldn't
that's,
have a reason to be upset.
I know that's right. When keeping it real is keeping it real. Anyway, so Rod, we're gonna wait until we get to 500. So let me dive deep, Rod. So Rod, where are you originally from? Where you from? Where you roll? Where you come from? Where you be?
I was born in Cook County Hospital on November the 10th, 1968.
Ooh,
We stayed in Chicago for a while. Then we moved to Michigan because my father got a job working as an auto worker.
that's right. The automobile industry was big then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we stayed in Pontiac for a while. Then we had a family crisis. We ended up moving back to Chicago
Mhm.
and we stayed there for a little while. Then my mother relocated with the children to Grand Rapids, which is 2 hours northwest of um, Pontiac.
I heard it's really pretty there, Grand
Yeah,
Rapids. Yeah,
we used to love Grand Rapids when we lived there. I still love Grand Rapids. It's a nice city to be in,
yeah,
especially now that a lot of this generation that's coming up now, they colorblind.
they can. They
They,
can
they
enjoy
don't.
it. Everybody can be together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
In the 80s, a lot of people don't know, after the Vietnam War in the 80s, they
Mhm.
brought a whole lot of Vietnamese to the Americas that was helping the military.
Hmm.
And they have a sizable community of them that was relocated up around Grand Rapids.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. My one of my best friends is Vietnamese. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't see color until they got here.
Oh yeah, color doesn't exist. Well, isn't it more of a political status? You know what I mean? And
It's a military doctrine.
mhm.
It's
And
it's it's designed to separate groups of people so they're more controllable.
absolutely control. And don't you, and we kind of talked about before that the indigenous people that are brown copper skinned people like yourself and myself were originally here and that they kept redesignating their status like as first they were Negro, then they were colored, then black, something like that, and then African American
Well,
to kind of take away their rights to who their original indigenous status in the United States.
you can't take somebody's stuff. Like, if you live it in your house, I can't just move in there without moving you out.
Well, you could.
You about to get some more hate mail. But look, people can't do that. You can't come to somebody else's land that's inviting everybody in the world. America before Columbus came had an open door policy.
That's right. Absolutely.
All we invited all of the orphans of the world. That's why in our families that's been here for the longest, you got all skin colors and hair textures,
Yeah. And
and they don't.
blood
Yeah,
types.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they don't always match up. Like, you might have a chocolate brown sister with blonde hair naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody be like, look at her. She want trying to be white. She dyed her hair. She dyed her hair.
No. You see it in Brazil all the time. Brazil is like the mirror to what we are here, to be honest. Like the multiculturalism, the different complexions, but they still have a lot of, racism over there.
Yeah.
Um,
And well, they got colorism.
mhm, mhm.
Colorism. The colorism was the tool used to force the people to amalgamate with the settlers that came.
Yeah.
They got a term. The term is called Brazilianization.
Mhm.
And what it means is, when the melding pot is melding and you blending all of the ethnic groups together and you finally get a successful blend, they are Brazilianized now,
That's right. Because that's where
right?
my people came from originally, like the northern part of Brazil and French Guyana, which is Cayenne. And that's what they did. They were just harmonic and the French, well, actually people don't think they think it's mostly Portuguese that went over there. It's actually a lot of Italians. Rome didn't dissipate. It just relocated to South America.
It
But
expanded.
mhm, uh-huh,
Everywhere that the Catholic Church has a presence, it's a Roman presence.
absolutely.
Rome became the Catholic Church in order to sidestep the political drama.
Hmm.
They control Democrats, Republicans, socialists, communists.
Mhm.
All
Jesuits.
that's all that's controlled. Those political parties is controlled, or political ideologies is controlled through Rome. The Republic was discussed on the Senate floors in ancient Rome, and this is where Plato get his Plato's Republic. And they talked about the styles of government way back then, and they was trying to find one that would work on large groups of people from different backgrounds.
Mhm.
So when they told us Alexander conquered the world, he didn't literally conquer the world. He found the scrolls of government in the Indus Valley in the mountains of Tibet, which tells them how to govern over mass groups of people from varying backgrounds. and what to control in order to not have to micromanage individuals,
Sure. And
right?
he had a
So
they had a genetic understanding that some people were sensitive to sugar and alcohol as well.
yeah,
Mm.
if you go back to the Aztec um, paintings, you see that they was taking alcohol enemas. They was preparing for somebody to bring alcohol over here
Hmm. Hmm.
because it wasn't a common staple to the people over here. We wasn't alcoholics.
That's right.
We
And
didn't need it. We didn't need something called escapism to cope with life. We
because life
live
is
life,
painful.
and that's
Yeah.
how we cope.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also just with my genetic background, bees are hypersensitive to sugar, and they had an understanding that the indigenous here had a sensitivity, didn't have an enzyme. So what is perceived to be addiction to alcohol is just an allergy that has a really good feeling. So bees are hypersensitive to it, and we know we have a high concentration of A bees in the United States and throughout Central and South America. So, that having an understanding of someone's genetic makeup, like you said, being able to study and know how different groups react to certain kind of social ideology or type of control systems helps because you can control them. If you can't control them from the outer perimeters, you can control them from the inner.
The most functional. You ever see drink champs?
What is it? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know that's an ancient cultural phenomenon. When we went from, we used to use the peace pipe and the herb, but
Yes.
when the settlers came, we started using alcohol
Mm,
in negotiations so we can
yeah,
find out what they really want.
yes, yes. I've heard that. Yes.
Yeah. So the drink champs was the retread of the powwow circle when we smoked the herb, because you can't sit there and smoke herb with somebody and then they sit there and tell you a bald faced lie without knowing they lying,
That's right.
right? But they say a drunk man speak what?
The truth.
A sober man,
Of the mind. Yes, yes.
right? So they say if you want the truth, listen to babies and drunk folks.
That is so true. You'll always get the truth from the young and old. Mhm.
But the settlers came was originally heavily melanated Europeans.
Mhm.
Those people that we call Native Americans with the Genghis Khan blood, the Siberians.
The Mongolian, yeah, the Mongolians. Yeah.
Go back to who Rome was fighting.
Hold on, my dog said, "Hey, chill." My wolves. Hold on, my wolf privates. They're out of control. Chill out. But it's okay. They're probably seeing the Insecticons outside. Hold on. Come on. Good girl. Over there. Okay. Sorry about that.
Mm. Okay, so they brought their servants with them. The history books say they brought servants with them.
Mhm.
They also numbered the servants they was bringing with them. The Trail of Tears was after King George put a military buffer zone between West Florida and East Florida,
Okay. Okay.
right? In West Florida, what we call it today, Louisiana,
Mhm.
they fighting the French.
That's right.
In East Florida, they fighting the Spanish.
That's right.
The English, King George, inserts his military between them because we was going south and east to support the Gullah Wars. Then we stumbled across the Huguenot Wars, the French. So we begin to concentrate our forces in the south. This is why most of us can trace directly south.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then some of the ones of us that can trace south can trace back bloodline a very long time on the land, pre-Columbian, if you want to know, like
Absolutely.
Chief Warhorse, for example.
Yeah.
She got a family history dating back like 13,000 years,
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful.
right? So that means that she was here long before Columbus came.
My tribe
Her
is from
bloodline was here.
Caribbean. Yeah, we were there in Caribs where we were there way
Now,
before. Yeah.
If we remembered our culture, we would have knew that all of the South was populated with family farms from distant tribes, and they would all make pilgrimage
That's
to
right.
Big Mama house
Hmm.
for the cookouts and the harvest festivals that they monetized and turned into holidays.
Yes, yes. My grandmother would
Right.
tell me, yeah, we have the in the Caribbean, we went to the South and we did a lot of exchanges, even exchange with marriages, like we intermated, within the tribes. Yeah.
And most of our marriages was appointments. They wasn't this European romance story that
No,
ain't gonna never come true
no.
because most of us don't know it's talking about a man and a boy and it got nothing to do with no women.
Hmm.
But they just paint them up in the modern stories and tell it to us like women involved. So the elemental Q community ain't new. We've been chasing drag queens across the land since they got here. Talking about a drag race.
Good, Monkey King.
Half
Crazy.
of the first ladies was drag
First,
queens.
first man. Mm.
I don't think
Balls of
they
mass,
first. They
balls of
might
mass.
be.
You lift up the skirt like balls of mass destruction. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Woohoo! Mm.
Look, Barbara Bush name was Big Buddy.
Oh, I don't say. Woo,
The only
she.
ones I think was married to a woman that
Oh,
I was
Kennedy.
JFK,
Yeah, Kennedy. Hmm.
Ronnie,
Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
and um
I see
Howard
that.
the Duck,
Which one?
Donald the Duck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Millennia. Even though I think she's an insectilian, but just a little bit of that hybrid in her, covering her eyes.
You think she a what?
She's an insectilian. She looks like a bug.
No, she's Pleiadian.
She's got the pheromones on him. She's like, like shh, blowing it on him. She's controlling that house. That's why he's orange. He got an insect, probably stinging the hell out of him. Got
And he called him Agent Orange in the CIA for his negotiation tactics.
wow.
Now, if you pay attention, they tell you who they're gonna throw him on. Hillary is evergreen.
Oh, she's diabolical. The baby peeler, the baby face peeler.
Mhm. What's the evergreen?
It's a tree.
Yeah.
The tree.
Okay. And then you remember you have the Bushes.
Oh, you're like giving me like brain orgasms.
Go back to the Vietnam War. They couldn't get to the enemy. They couldn't drain the swamp of the Viet Cong because the thicket of the trees and the brush, the bushes, was too thick.
Yeah, it's
And the
very,
only thing they needed something that would incinerate it.
that was Agent Orange.
Agent Orange.
And my mother was a special ed teacher, and she actually had students in her classroom that's fathers were in Vietnam, and the children had all kinds of weird
Messed
mutations.
up stuff.
Yeah.
That's because they wasn't just using Agent Orange. They was using um, radioactive chemicals as well. In
Oh,
a period.
yeah.
It used to be a video. We used to talk about it when back in the 80s called A Shock in Asia.
Say it again.
It was called A Shock in Asia.
Oh,
You ever heard of Faces of Death?
well, we know of Generation X. We used to watch that as young people.
Right.
The young people would be mortified that that was our entertainment.
The Shock in Asia was about all of the weird stuff they do over there.
Oh, was it on Faces of Death?
It was
Oh, no.
something like that around that
Okay.
time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's Faces of Death. That was the stuff. I watched all
Yeah,
three
the
of them
guy who
like a
came out,
thousand times a piece.
we watched it. Remember the guy who came out of the plane and he got eaten by the alligators?
Oh
Just
yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all. It's morbid. That's why we're the way we are.
Those Sobek priests, the
That was
ones who used to charm the alligators, was called Sobek priests.
Sobek priests.
You still got tribes in Africa, and you still got pockets in South America and in Louisiana where the old man come out, he might slap or something. Hey, yo, come on over here, Gators.
No, yeah, they don't even in South America with the caiman, which are like and like little alligators, the little capybaras, they're so cute, like big rats. The capybara, 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 capybara. I love this song. Capybara, capybara, capybara. Those little capybaras are like sitting on alligators. Alligators on the caiman don't bite them. And there were people who swim with them who in the Gully, wasn't it the Gully? Which tribe in the Mississippi? They used to, the brown indigenous were swimming with them. They were,
You know what stopped it, don't you?
wait, say it again?
You know how they stopped it, right? They
By
started
feeding
gator
the
baiting our
babies.
children.
Yeah, they start putting the babies and throwing
And
them in the
that's
cage.
what made them have a taste for our flesh because they wouldn't eat us.
That's right.
But they eat a stranger that don't belong over here because his scent is different.
Hmm.
But the ones from here, they didn't eat us.
They didn't.
We was literally one with nature.
Hmm. Like in Avatar, like in
Yeah.
Avatar, really,
We had treehouse villages.
which I plan to live in eventually.
Mhm. You never had to come down to the ground for nothing.
I would.
They had life figured out how to live in the treetops. Shout out to the treetop Hyrule.
Well, but the trees also pheromonically, like even the things that they did, the way that they uh created fruit. The fruit actually was when it grew, it actually grew every single nutrient that was specific to the certain people living there. We were
Yeah,
symbiotic with the trees.
yeah. We remember when we used to use the bathroom, we used to use the bathroom under the tree,
That's right. That's right. Because
right?
it was eat fruit. We were eating more natural and organic too. Yeah.
The the soil then has your energy signature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Same way you
It's,
pee in your garden to keep, I mean, to
yeah.
keep that inside.
And where you lacking that, Mother Nature adjusts the fruit to match your biology.
Mm-hmm.
That's why mass slaughter was prohibited.
Mm,
We didn't slaughter animals that we didn't have a relationship with.
it's true.
And they understood that they was there, what they was there for to feed the people. So we didn't mass slaughter nothing, but we use every part of everything that we kill.
For everything, the antlers, and also gave honor, even now with my children, give honor to every animal that we engage with for the
Yeah.
life that was given, and it wasn't a sacrifice that was in vain.
You know, that's where the
Mhm.
culture come from.
Yes, absolutely.
All of the earth tribes would honor what they kill before they eat it.
Mhm. Kosher and the what is it? The what's the other one? The Islamic one?
Halal.
Halal and kosher. Hmm. And they don't mix the milk of the mother with the flesh of the child, which is parv. You separate even in the fridge of Jewish people, you separate the milk, any dairy, from any of the flesh, even the utensils. It's an energetic thing. Yeah.
But really, the only the livestock they have now, the bovine beef, to use it from bison fat,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the fat of
Ghee,
the lamb.
yeah, and tallow, which I
Mhm.
still use. And we're not supposed to use like oils uh um like oils like saturated oils. Like those oils are block the arteries, and a lot of
Yeah.
the oils is toxic when you cook it, when you warm it up. It changes
We
out
used,
chemically.
we used to
Yeah.
use a lot of whale oil too.
Mm-hmm. 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 Way different. Yeah.
They
Everything.
decimated the whales.
Do you imagine, even with the story of the buffalo, that when they killed all the buffalo, which was the main source of food and nourishment for specific tribes, I mean, just to think of how heinous these beings were who came over here, who did that. And there's been no
Well, you got to remember why they said they did it. Then you know your culture, and then you can look at the background and see why they really did it. They say for every bison they killed one of us.
That reminds me of Avatar. Remember when they killed the whale and it was a
Mhm.
symbiotic with the women? It was like they were siblings. Oh, that gave me a
Yeah.
shock.
So we had what's known as the Bison Clan became known as Buffalo Soldiers.
Mm,
They
buffaloes.
make fun of them in the TV show called The Flintstones.
Did they? Wait, they did?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I gotta say, because I watch the Flintstones. Oh, you're gonna teach me something today, or many things today, right?
Yeah. They make this is the Bison Clan in satire.
Holy cow!
They got a whole bunch. The old Mississippians, they call them the Big Red Brute. That's in a different cartoon.
Yeah. Oh my
Then
God.
the ones that the rapping Indians
Mm-hmm.
that don't nobody know what he's saying but the chief, that was an underdog. They was call them the Gopher Indians. Now we don't know what they was making fun of us for until we look back in retrospect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The scout chief, because he had one feather, that means he was in training. He was sabotaging the the European forces. He would talk in front of the European forces. He would be rapping and pop locking. So they don't know what he's saying. But the old chief with the full headdress sitting there listening to him rapping, and when he come back, he say, "What's the plan you got?"
Holy cow! I didn't know. Didn't know. Wow.
Yeah. So they've made fun of us ad nauseum in the cartoons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, as we're talking about that and we're going forward into the new administration, let me ask you a question. I don't know if you saw, did you see the inauguration or no?
I didn't watch it.
Okay. There's a part when Trump was going to put his hand, there was like two Bibles, two books. You know how with President, the pooping president, the
Mm,
previous
yeah.
non-president, where he didn't even he put on a satanic ritualistic book, obviously. This
Good
time,
boy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Trump's wife was carrying two books. One, I think was they explain as like an old Bible of the family, another one on top. This time, when he originally made when he did become president in the previous administration, he put his hand on the Bible. This time he didn't. What do you think? Why do you think he didn't?
Can't swear in twice. They was they hired Kamala to fail miserably. That's her job.
Well, and also to cosplay brown women, so it brings more of a lower, perceiving brown women to be, you know, cooking greens in the bathtub, being, acting like a buffoon, just basically spoofing brown women. It's disgusting.
Yes. Anyway, so
I'm sorry.
he already is holding the office. The Biden administration gave them a 4-year extension to close out the corporation,
Mm,
right? The first thing he did was 50 executive orders. Why
mm.
the number 50?
That five is for change. That's a five, but I don't know why 50. 50 was it reminiscent of the stars? Or
It's 50 is the final flip. It's only 50 seats on the council. 50 is the final flip, the final seat.
mm,
I'm big 50. GD Prairie Dog 4850. Knocked off 49 on the Peppy Le Pew, Pepper from the Pews.
Holy cow.
So
Okay.
so when you get to the final flip,
Hmm.
everything accelerates.
As we see, yeah. Now, question before you go further. Why is he doing the deeds of, I call them the Daros, but or rather the Israel? Why is he doing the bidding of Israel and not taking the stance of like saying that he would take over their lands? And also, why is he sitting with Netanyahu without any consequence or anything? Even though there was a little bit of dissension, which was like, which we saw, even though it looked like it was clean, there was a little bit of micro there was some micro hostility showing up when they sat together. What do you think about that?
You know, you know who Vanessa Williams was, right?
Of course.
Miss America.
Yes.
Joe Montana was playing his last big game, and they played her song "Save the Best for Last," and he came out in clown. And ain't time to deal with that right now.
Mm,
Create a compelling spectacle. Polarize the people. Confuse your enemy.
I understand. I understand.
Those people who's pretending to be Jews in Gaza and the West Bank in this makeshift country called Israel are
Mhm.
Ukrainians.
Yes, yes,
Before they were called Ukrainians, they was called Khazarians.
yes. Khazars, which are converts from Eastern Russia and Poland and Ukraine.
Right. That's different than the Sephardi.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Those are a different group of people. Them the ones saying that they Jews for Palestine
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because they don't agree with this
They
Khazarian
don't. They don't. And they're
BS.
very strong about it. Even in Brooklyn, over on Carroll Street, they've been protesting. They're not for it. No.
And, and a lot of them will flat out tell you those are not Jews, those
Well,
are
they say,
Zionists.
yeah. Well, we have friends who are,
We,
we have a friend who's there, and she's like, we don't associate with them. We want them to leave. Yeah,
yeah, those are Zionists. Zionists are a different group of people.
they are
Those
genetic.
are those are the byproducts of the concubines of the Moors when it was Prussia.
Speak, Rod.
During the Prussian rule, this was dismantled by Tsar Nicholas, which made them take over Russia with the Bolshevik Revolution,
Yes, yes.
right?
And they got to alter.
Vladimir Lenin set it off. Stalin furthered the agenda,
Mhm.
and Gorbachev tore down the wall.
That's right.
This is a stage show, political satire,
Mm.
theatrical performance of political elites that don't have no real power playing out a monopoly game.
Woo! Using everybody else as their pawns.
And as long as you don't know that you're being played, they're gonna keep playing you until you can't be played no more.
That's right. Absolutely.
Those people got their day coming. If he tell them people from that's really Palestinians to leave the West Bank, if I was them, I'd leave.
Mm.
Because who you leaving behind?
Mm-hmm.
X marks the spot.
Ooh. Clear the space so that the real consequence could come to those who deserve it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or as Rakim say, run for cover.
Woo! I know that's right. Now, what say you about what's happening in the Congo as well? We've heard about what's happening in the Congo with the mass destabilization. I think it's the same people. I think they're Israelis. They were mercenaries over there. And, like whenever I lived in New York all my life, but, when you go to the Diamond District, you don't see Africans selling gold and diamonds. You only see Jews,
Hmm.
Ashkenazi Jews who monopolize that.
Well, okay, but you trace the diamonds back. The diamonds, any diamond on the market that doesn't come through the De Beers Corporation is considered a blood diamond.
That's right. That's right.
The De Beers company is the one who tags the diamond with its identifier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they are they are the monopoly in the diamond world. They are the ones who selected the Khazarian bankers to disseminate their diamonds. And they control the flow of the diamonds by controlling who they give it to.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
Right. So when we talking about the trade in gold and diamonds on the Gold Coast, this is why you primarily seeing what looked like a Hasidic Jew.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. The Sephardi, they the ones, those the Jews that got to work their way up, just like us.
They do. They do. It's sad, but it's okay. Yeah.
And they ideologically do not agree with those other Zionist Jews
Yeah.
that's pushing the agenda of the more Zionist Jews.
Mm-hmm. And they're subjugated under marginalization when they're in Israel or anywhere else. It's seen as lower tier. Like the
Well,
Nick,
now, how did they get to be Jews?
who the Sephardic? Sephardic?
Yeah. When
Wasn't,
they, okay,
yeah.
look, they ousting the Moors from Europe. Moors are primarily Arabs.
Yes.
The
Or
people
North
that's
Africa.
being used
North Africa.
to exile them are primarily Christians.
Yeah.
The ones who converted as Sephardi didn't want to take sides in the war.
Oh, so they took a neutral position of something all the way on the other side.
Yeah,
So it wasn't so not to be a party of Islam or not to be a party to the Christianity. So they
yeah.
took a neutral stance. Ah, interesting.
Both Dr. John Henry Clark and Dr. Bean do lectures on that European history,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
how
I was
these people get to be
Dr.
Jews.
Dr. Jeffries was my professor. He was
And he
actually,
did some lectures on them too. Yep.
yeah, yeah. That's how I learned about it when I was like 17. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
my
So they end up being the ones who didn't want to be part of the religious cult of them homosexuals,
oh.
never knowing that they getting caught into the cult of the trainer of the other two homosexual cults.
That's right. The Babylonian
Yeah.
satanic cult.
Because they didn't come with the Torah. They didn't come out of Babylon with the Torah. They came out of Babylon with the Talmud and the Mishnah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
This is where they got the Babylonian blood rights and all this child abuse in there for control.
And 100 and something genders.
Oh boy.
100 and something, Rod. I'm still trying to. I told you I'm a trans
I
everything.
can only I'm gender blind. I can only see two.
100 and something. We read them off one night. It's diabolical, Rod. It's crazy.
Religious doctrine told them that this is what the priest is supposed to do: suck on your baby pecker until he snatched
Oh,
the skin off. That's just the most ridiculous thing I ever heard.
you
But
know,
it's in their literature.
it is because also, a lot of men are traumatized as babies because that's the first time a beautiful baby boy is born, and the first thing he has is a surgical procedure that's unnecessary, and then it also makes your wand less sensitive because the sheath goes over. It just protects the penis.
I figured it like this. If Mother Nature didn't think I needed foreskin, she wouldn't have gave it to me.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's just like if Mother Nature felt like that trans testicle should have been born a boy, he should have stayed a boy. Now he in his feelings because he got to put he was a boy on his passport.
I gotta use that. I'm gonna get a shirt. I'm gonna buy a shirt for me and you. We're gonna have trans testicles. We rebuke it. Could you imagine you think we get kicked out? They probably kick us out of everywhere. Trans testicles, like investigations.
No, I don't want to investigate them. I'm not that interested in them. Look, people can live their life, but stop trying to convert the kids to your alternative
Yeah, I'm
lifestyle.
I'm totally for it. I think you can be who you want to be. You want to be, Sylvester the cat on Sunday. You want to be, Elmer Fudd on Tuesday. You can do it. I agree. Promoting that and propagating that to little people and putting that in the educational system is criminal. Criminal. And for that bastard who calls his son, Zoe, you know what we're talking about, with his man wife, uh, let me stop being messy. Letting that boy walk around 7 feet tall saying he's a girl. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Isn't that the sacrifice?
Well, once he get to become a man, you can't tell him whether he can walk like around dressed like a woman or not. But I tell you this, somebody failed him was teaching him the difference between a man and a woman.
Exactly. But his father was cross-dressing. That was his example. Going to the Diddy parties, putting that pink cocaine in the lotion. You know what I'm saying?
Look, all I'm gonna tell you like this. Them people go over there and do what them people do is leave me out of it.
Mm. Can you imagine you go to a party, you chilling, everybody's cool, and then like midnight, like the Cinderella clock goes off, ding, and then everybody is out there dressed like, Cinderella and her sisters, her ugly stepsisters, run around butt naked with petroleum jelly, throwing it around like it's football. I'm sorry, Rod. I'm being very inappropriate. I apologize for you. You'll never want to come on the show again. Oh,
Well, you got some listeners that need to get the tea, so I'll let you give them a little
you know
tea.
what I'm saying? Stay away from the lotion. Say no to the lotion. You know what I'm saying? It might knock you out. You wake up with like Tinkerbell skirts on, singing all kinds of songs from the 1970 Cartoon Network. Anyway. Okay, so maybe we need to. Does anyone want to talk to Rod? I don't want to hold Rod because I could talk to Rod all night. He's let me be. He's let me be me. You let me be my true self. You know what I mean?
Can't get the best out of somebody you trying to make be somebody you want them to be. You got to let them be who they are.
Thank you. You know, let me just be who I want to be. YouTube should learn that. I've been on YouTube for like 12 years and they still don't get it. My God. Okay, so Rod, you want to take some questions and comments, you think?
Sure.
Okay. We're so calm tonight. You know what I mean? Oh, we got 1.6 thousand people in here listening to our shenanigans. Okay, let me get the link for them. Anyway, and please, everyone, Rod, can you remind them of your where to find you? And I'm gonna put your Cash App link. Show appreciation to the SikApe.
And affect the global economy. You ain't have to worry
What's
about
up,
that.
Chief?
What's going on with you, Chief?
Man, wow. I just sent my request, man. That's crazy. You all right?
Yeah, a lot of